Liora Coastline took her first breath on an indigo dawn. 15 August 1997, inside a cedar shake cottage, stilted above the foggy harbor of Sitka, Alaska. Outside, sea otters rolled in the kelp beds, while her mother, a roving folk blues banjoist who tucks dried lupin petals into her capo pouch, plucked a hush of triplets beside the bassinet. Her father, a lighthouse lens mechanic who sketches storm fronts on coffee filters, leaned close until their foreheads touched and promised his daughter that every ocean current will slide wider for a body that refuses to shrink. Curves ripple all through the coastline family, the way salmon charge upstream eddies. So nobody blinked when baby Liora ripped a second flannel swaddle before sunrise tinted the straits pink. Grandma Anouk slipped a walrus bone needle through each seam, opened the stitches, stuffed scraps of oilskin sailcloth in the gaps, then laughed that extra fabric costs pennies, while teaching a child to fold herself small can cost her the whole compass of her courage. First grade hallways smelled of pencil shaving, cedar smoke, and briny mist. Liora already towered above her classmates, blotting the overhead beam each time she diagrammed compound predicates. One squally recess, two boys hopped around her, chanting "tugboat" every time her sneakers thumped the hop grid. That evening, she combed the drift line for soda caps burnished smooth by tide, threaded them on fishing leader into a spine of mirrors, and stitched the chain down her sea green hoodie. At roll call next dawn, the low sun ricocheted off 100 silver discs, and a visiting wildlife volunteer captured 6 shaky seconds on a clamshell phone, later uploading the flicker to a brand new video site. 17,000 strangers applauded the girl who flipped ridicule into harbor starlight. Liora printed a vow inside her copybook in turquoise ink. When clouds crowd the channel, fling mirrors until they drift. Saturdays belonged to the dockside craft fair, where her mother's banjo twang rippled between barrels of smoked black cod and ropes of kelp pickles. Store-bought jeans stranded halfway up Liora's thighs, so she traded busking quarters for weather-rotted crab pot net, unraveled it into flat cord, wove the cord into high-waist culottes, sprayed raven silhouettes in squid ink, and posed at sunset against barnacled piling while her cousins snapped grainy photos. She launched an image diary called Tide Lantern, the same week a new photo app sluiced along coastal cell towers. Captions shifted between cling-it phrases and clean English truths like curves, more storms, steadier than bollards. By her 16th solstice, 53,000 unseen friends double-tapped every rose-blue portrait, proof that distant screens hushed cafeteria whispers louder than any faculty whistle. A full ride carried her south to the University of British Columbia. Daylight disappeared inside ocean acidification labs, while nights belonged to a 24-hour bowbun, truck glowing jade under fir branches. The steamer lamp turned into her sole key light. Between pork and shiitake orders, she filmed 90-second reels, twisting parchment sheets into lupin barrettes while explaining dart manipulation in a voice part surf hush, part seminar zing. One clip-looped sea lion barks over a pocket synth line while she chain-stitched reflective paracord into thrift shop denim. 48 hours later, the reel surged past 1 million plays. Northwest-style blogs dubbed her the Bow Couturière, yet every sponsor offer in her inbox stalled at size 16. Liora folded each message into a folder titled Shrinking Nets, wiped hoisin flecks from her sleeve, and rolled another bun. February blew in an email from Patagonia women seeking a cold spray capsule called Fjord Pulse. Liora answered with 3 ballast-firm terms. Pattern blocks must stretch to 60-inch hips, half the production crew hired from coastal First Nations trade programs, and 10% of net profit routed into kelp forest restoration in Prince William Sound. Patagonia signed before dawn drizzle glazed the pier. The shoot unfolded at daybreak on a black sand cove where puffins skimmed the swell. Liora coached curvy paddle boarders through glassy ripples, while a drone traced spirals overhead. When the lookbook dropped, every extended size spray shell vanished inside 41 hours across 24 countries. Tide Lantern vaulted beyond 700,000 followers. Still perfumed with bow steam, she ducked behind rice sacks, balanced her phone on a soy crate, and live-streamed tear-bright thanks beneath humming fluorescence. First invitation rises with that tide. If your chest echoed her joy, press subscribe right this second. A single tap keeps every new swell rolling into your feed before the algorithm turns the wind. Spotlight Glitter hauled rumor gulls. A gossip vlog insisted Liora laced stiff carbon plates around her waist between takes. At sunrise, she paddled a cedar board beyond the kelp line, stood steady in sport bra and fleece shorts, traced each stretch mark with powdered fireweed, and bowed a banjo chord sequence across the water. 10 million viewers reposted the clip, tagging it fireweed-proof, brushing pink dust over their own curves until gossip shrank smaller than tide foam. Bow wages twined with capsule royalties and spun into drift glow, a whipped body custard mixing spruce tip butter, huckleberry seed oil, and mica petals that flash pearl under phone flash. 19,000 tins whirled off her father's boat-shocked bench, each lid cinched with braided crab line and tagged "Moisturize Your Horizon." Inventory evaporated in 83 minutes, yielding $195,000. 20% launched beacon grants that ferry heavy-duty surgers and hydrophone kits to plus-size teens dotting archipelago towns from Ketchikan to Kodiak. 9 months later, 36 grant winners staged a floating fashion and whale song drift aboard a research catamaran draped in LED barnacles, streamed live to breakfast anchors from Dublin to Durban. Vancouver Fashion Week etched fresh harbor lore when a backstage wind cannon sliced her emerald mesh gown from rib to knee 90 seconds pre-curtain. Grabbing neon safety rope off a lighting truss, she laced the gash-like sneaker eyelets, strode the runway as though the splice lived in every sketch, and camera shutters cracked like glacial calving. Vogue Cascadia named the salvage rope cadence, and another million lantern voyagers surfaced before after-party vinyl warmed. Trouble circled again when a fired promoter leaked email snippets claiming Liora demanded sablefish caviar dumplings and chauffeured seaplanes for her rescue sea otter, Nori. She posted the whole chain: refillable water urns, miso stew for crew, caption services for deaf stylists. Affiliate revenue that month, $136,000. Bankrolled biodegradable crab trap trials in 3 bays. Fans echoed her doc credo, receipts glow brighter than rumors silt until whispers sink. By midsummer, Tide Lantern shimmered across 6.6 million Instagram hearts, 3.3 million real voyagers, and 2 million loyal channel subscribers, engagement brushing 10% and rewriting agency playbooks. Cardier invited her to headline Topaz Surge inside the lantern lens of Race Rock's lighthouse. She agreed once Cartier pledged therapy stipends for deck crews rocked by rogue swells. The finish reel, her wrists scattering amber shards across iron ribs, became Cartier's most saved post that quarter. Family stays her North Star. Twice a month, she streams strings and steam, mum-bending jazz banjo riffs over a propane skillet, dad reading cloud map haiku while Liora flips thrift denim under fairy bulbs. One session crested 9 million views when Nori rolled across powdered sugar and sneezed a snowdrift onto the microphone. A marine mammal rescue now sponsors every stream, tagging rehabilitated otters with solar beacons financed by Drift Glow. Glow revenue sailed past 12 million before its second birthday. Liora leased a derelict salmon cannery, carved skylights through corrugated roof sheets, and hired furloughed net menders plus design grads to whip and jar custard, each tin knots shut by hand during midday stretch dances to banjo house remixes. Efficiency pundits begged for shrink bands. She repeated her mother's stage law. Palms keep legends long after machines forget, and the knots remained human. Mental health candor threads her feed, cliff edge portraits paired with noodle cart selfies captioned "Same sky, different weather," breath loops recorded beneath tide caverns, worksheets in English and Tlingit, and sliding scale therapy links. 106,000 followers credit her shoreline honesty as their first safe harbor. Community rides shimmer in crushed abalone paint. Hundreds cruise the seawalk at dusk wearing drift glow on collarbones and LED jellyfish tassels on spokes. Ticket proceeds widen beacon grants and install wheelchair snorkel lifts at rocky coves. Chowder stalls keep pots simmering late because salmon bisque sales soar 15%. Liora pedals lead on a vintage cruiser with nori plush bungie to the basket, stopping to retie any rider's wandering shoelace. Her memoir, Currents, Keep Names, is due in 11 languages next spring while a streaming crew shadows her plan to repurpose retired weather buoys into floating maker labs for island schools. Puma's wide-to-wee wave lantern sneakers launch next quarter, threaded in reflective rope and cushioned by algae foam midsoles, channeling 10% of proceeds into beacon grants around the Gulf of Alaska. Second invitation splashes your bow. If that subscribe button still glows red, flip it gray right now. You sail with us gratis, and the next wave of stories will anchor in your harbor before the tide shifts again. The description waiting below holds tonight's Strings and Steam playlist, fresh drift glow drops, beacon grant applications, and a hidden compass. A research-backed guide packed with conversation anchors, calm confidence rituals, and the most reliable route to spark love so every woman who meets you feels sunrise glint in your grin. No gimmicks, just a map that works. Tap like if the soda cap spine, rope cadence rescue, or nori sugar sneeze salted your smile. Share your favorite splash in the comments, then pass this voyage to a friend who sails sag in stale air. Every curve redirects currents, every scar refracts moonlight, and the inside passage bows to anyone who plants broad feet on the dock and greets tomorrow head high. A final hush of tide brushes your screen. Subscribe now, claim your berth, and meet me on the next swell, when another story glimmers beyond the breakers and courage calls your name again.